Is it porridge? I don't know whether to taste it. I think it might be Shreddies. Hello everybody and welcome to The United Stand. This is your latest Manchester United news and transfer news. Jadon Sancho, big story around Jadon Sancho. Pep Guardiola, some big statement there. Also Griezmann, which is quite interesting. But I just want to start off with what is the most relevant point today. And I think you would all agree, Manchester United are in a top four race. We were always in a top four race, but we're now very much in a top four race. And it's in our hands. Chelsea losing to West Ham. Everton beating Leicester. We are currently 3 points off third place with Leicester to play. Look, Chelsea can take care of themselves. Of course they can, and they will do. But Manchester United very much in their own hands for top four. And I tell you what, look, sometimes you get things right in life. And I think that things come in three. So I'm going to give you a third prediction here. My first prediction went on for a very long time. 18 months. Get Bruno Fernandes. He will change the way... He'll change the world. And he'll definitely change United's world. I was right about that. Bruno's come in and he's been Cantona-esque. He's been brilliant. I also said during lockdown, we will catch Leicester. We will finish in top four. I think we'll finish third, but we'll definitely get top four. No, it won't happen. No, it won't happen. It's happening, baby. It's bloody well happening. So my third prediction is this. Sign Jadon Sancho and Manchester United will win a title in their next 2 years. 3 years is too easy. The next 2 years. Sign Jadon Sancho, United will win the title in the next 2 years. I've got it right twice. Well, I've got it half right on the top four. We haven't got it yet, but I think I will get it right. Sancho as well. So look, thanks everyone for watching. See you all later. No, not really. Okay, so let's get into the show. Look, very excited last night. I mean, that's the way you want it to go. You look at the fixtures that we've got as well. Look, don't count your chickens till they've hatched, but United have got some winnable fixtures coming up, and Chelsea and Leicester have got games where they could drop more points. We just, you know what, instead of beating Leicester for top four, we need to be in top four when we play Leicester and say, you try and beat us, and then we'll hit them on the break. That's what I want. I don't want to be playing Leicester last game of the season, needing to win. I want to be playing Leicester last game of the season. They need to win. They attack us, and we hit them on the break. That's what I want to see. But look, let's get on with the latest transfer news. Big shout out to Everton and West Ham from the live comments as well. Shane says it's a bold statement. I was right on Bruno. I've been right on top four. I'll be right on Sancho. I don't care. They say it comes in threes. I'm going to think big. But let's get into it. Welcome to Sushas, latest member of the United Stand Members Club, and RLLGJS. Thank you very much for everyone who supports us and joins the Members Club and does the Super Chats. Really appreciate that. Obviously, we don't have Patreon or anything like that, so your support is fantastically appreciated. So, 2 big transfer stories to start off with. We'll also be talking about Ollie's hard job with the Deadwood and a bit about Grealish as well. But let's start off with... we'll start with the Sancho story and then we'll go to Griezmann. So the Jadon Sancho story comes from Pep Guardiola. He was asked yesterday in his press conference ahead of the match for Liverpool tonight about Jadon Sancho. There are some people who are concerned within the United fan base, and the wider media are putting 2 and 2 together and getting 5. Basically because City are selling Sane. Will they go back for Sancho? I've always said this won't happen. It won't happen because Sancho left there for a reason. I don't think Sancho wants to go back to City. I just don't think that's how his mind works. I think he's a forward-thinking player. And also, literally, I don't think City would do what we did. I don't think they would do. And look, it was brave what United did. Some would say it was stupid to let a player go for free in Paul Pogba and then spend 90 million to get him back. Man City don't really like to spend over 60, 70 million. They're not going to do it on a player to bring back. I don't think they would like that sort of an embarrassment on them, whereas United took it on the chin and it's worked out. So I don't think it would happen. So Pep Guardiola was asked about Sancho yesterday and he said, no, that's not going to happen. He doesn't want to be here. And it was a longer answer than that, but he basically said, look, we wanted him to stay with Foden and everybody else and he wanted to go. He doesn't want to be here. That's not going to happen. So... Man City, Sancho, not going to happen. Barcelona have been linked to him. They can't afford him, so they're not in the race. Real Madrid can't afford him. They're not in the race. I think it's really United, stay at Dortmund, maybe Chelsea. That's the race for Sancho, and that's the race it was 3 months ago, and I still think that's it. You can't stop me from counting my chickens, says Sharon Castle. And Nick Tankersley says, Mark, I think if we get Champions League and Sancho, Pogba will sign a new contract. Well, I wouldn't. That's one prediction I won't give you. I won't give you that prediction, to be honest. I can't give you that. Finley says you're clearly delusional. What's delusional about talking for 18 months on this channel? The videos are there saying Bruno Fernandes is the player. I was called delusional then by some. Bruno Fernandes is the player that will turn this club around. You're delusional. You're an idiot. You've never watched him. Bruno Fernandes will turn it around. the sinking of the ship off Mallorca, and look at what he's doing now. Manchester United will get top 4 all through lockdown. We'll catch Leicester. You're stupid. You're delusional. Look what's happening. Man United will win the title if they sign Jadon Sancho this summer. You're delusional. You don't know what you're doing. Bring it on. Bring it on. Anyway, the Griezmann story is coming from Spain. It's coming from Barcelona outlets that Griezmann's very angry. I'm very angry with Barcelona. Well, you shouldn't have acted like a prat, should you? So Griezmann's very angry that he's not getting much game time. His brother was tweeting, who's a United fan, 2 minutes, what's going on? Basically, the word flop in the dictionary for the 2020 edition actually has Antoine Griezmann next to it. He's flopping at Barcelona and he'd be open to a move to Manchester United. Would ya? Would you now? Would you be open to a move to Manchester United? You know what this is? You know what this is, Antoine? The door is shut. It's bolted. We ain't letting nobody in. Nobody's coming in with the name Griezmann to Manchester United. You had your chance. You walked up the garden path with flowers. You courted us. We went to open the door and you'd legged it. You didn't even leave the flowers. Remember, 3 years ago. Oh, he's come. We've worked on that deal for months. He's coming to Manchester United. He's there at the gate. He's ready to walk into Old Trafford. Atletico Madrid get a transfer ban and Griezmann gets a pang of morality and stays with them because they've had a transfer ban. But then the following year does some big video about where he's going to go. I mean, this is Mr. Ego himself who's flopped at Barcelona and maybe now fancies a move to Manchester United. I tell you what this is, Antoine. This is Manchester United, the nice guy or woman who actually would have loved you, would have treated you well, would have given you the number 7 shirt, would have given you everything, would have made you happy, would have been the perfect club for you. We would have done everything for you. What did you do? You know, we courted you, we were nice to you, we wanted you, we would have been fantastic for you. And what happened? Barcelona rolled up in their big Ferrari and you went, screw you, I'm off with the bad guy or the bad girl or whatever it is. And what's happened? You've gone there, they've treated you badly, and now you've gone, I would have been better with the nice club. No, we're not a doormat. The doormat's inside, behind the door, locked in as well. You're not coming to Manchester United. We don't want you. We're moving on. You've had your chance. And you'll always sit and go, I should have gone to United. They would have treated me well. Instead, my eyes were turned by the bad boy or girl, Barcelona. I don't know whether they're a boy or a girl. I don't want to get into that. Dylan from Cork says Sancho to score the 90th winner at the Etihad next season in the derby and kiss the United badge in front of the City fans. That would be nice to see. That would be nice to see. But no, it's true. Look, Griezmann, in seriousness, had his chance to come to United, stayed at Atletico Madrid, and then when United retained a bit of interest, he was like, no, I'm going to Barcelona now. I'm going to make a video about where I'm going to go. Big ego, not welcome at Manchester United. And you're 29, forget about it. You're a flop. You're an absolute flop, and Barcelona, you can keep it. We don't want it. And also, imagine if we did buy Griezmann, it would probably give them the money to go and get Sancho anyway. No. We don't want Griezmann. I think I've made it clear. And if people are saying to me, wow, I didn't expect you to react like that to Griezmann, go back. You've got to be a long-term United stand viewer to understand my reaction to Griezmann, because this was a guy 3 years ago I knew we were getting, not quite as obsessed as I was about Bruno, but I was like, he'll fit us like a glove. He's going to be absolutely fantastic. Griezmann's the player. He's going to come to United, and he absolutely turned his back on us. So I don't want him. He's too old. He's not what this club's all about. And also, you're a Barcelona flop, so why would we want you? You know, we're moving forward. We don't need this player. So it's a no from me for Griezmann. And Barcelona can deal with that problem themselves. They really can. I mean, look, we're not a Barcelona fan channel, but apparently they didn't want him anyway. Messi and that lot didn't even want him. Ollie said he'd rather a hole in the team than a prat, says Mr. Beast. Exactly. And who wins if it comes down to the final game with that level of pressure? Could happen, says Daniel McGovern. Mate, Leicester are like an ice cream in a heat wave. They are melting at the moment, and United have got the better players, so... But you know what? I'll give you another prediction now. Top 4's in our hands. We're 3 points behind Leicester, and we've got Leicester to play. So if we win all our games and they win all their games up to the last game against Leicester, and then we beat them, we'll get top 4. That's not going to happen. Leicester won't win all their games. I tell you now, they won't win all their games before we play them. We might, but I think we'll be above Leicester before we play Leicester. And that game may not be the big game we think it is. We don't need Griezmann, we've got Sanchez, says Robert McCormack. Well, thank you for that little feed in, and thanks for the super chat, Robert. Alexis Sanchez did well for Inter Milan last night. I think he scored and he got assist as well. So people are going to talk about Alexis Sanchez. I mean, look, to be honest with you, It's a toss-up as to who I would rather have at the club, Griezmann or Sanchez. Despite what I've just said about Griezmann, I'd probably rather have him than Alexis Sanchez. This is a running joke. I watch a lot of Italian football, and I always have done. And I've always said this, I'm not moving the goalposts. Italian football is slow. It's slow compared to La Liga. It's very slow compared to the Premier League. And, it's a bit slower than the Bundesliga. It's a slow league. Ashley Young, Lukaku, Sanchez doing well in that league does not surprise me. It's a slower league. If Alexis Sanchez does well in Serie A, it doesn't mean he's coming back to the Premier League and doing well. He's dusted in the Premier League. Ole Gunnar Solskjaer knows he's dusted in the Premier League. Sanchez doing well is great because somebody might buy him and we can get rid of this absolute wage thief. And I say wage thief because he's on 400k a week. He's on double what some of our best players are on. And he's got no future at this club. So I hope he does keep scoring for Inter Milan because he's got absolutely no future at Manchester United. And I'll say this now, a bold statement again. If we bring Sanchez back and give him another chance, over bringing in a Sancho, we'll be fighting for fourth again next season. These are the times for Manchester United. I've seen Sanchez in the United team. I've seen the frustration of Paul Pogba having to try and play balls to Sanchez who can't get onto them because he's not quick enough anymore. United need to move on from this. And look, Rojo's coming back to the club as well. United need to move on from these people. These are Deadwood players. I'm sure if Ole Gunnar Solskjaer could do what he would want to do, he'd just say go. But you've got Woodward and co saying we can't let them go. They're on this much money. We've got to pay him off to let him go. We've got to try and sell him, or you'll have to keep him and not buy somebody. And that's what holds United back. Mistakes of the past. Why is it Solskjaer's fault that he's got Sanchez unsellable, Rojo unsellable? All these players that were bought badly by Woodward and crappy previous managers are now Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's problem. And this is why I always say Solskjaer's working with one arm behind his back, because he's got a problem behind his back of having players that he's inherited, that he doesn't want, that stop him from building the team he wants to build, because he's still dealing with the legacy of the mistakes of Van Gaal and Moyes and certainly Mourinho. There are a lot of players still at this club that I wouldn't want at this club that he can't get rid of because they're on such big wages, so he has to fit them into his team and his plans when he doesn't bloody want them. And that's always going to make Ollie's job difficult. And Sanchez and Rojo fall into that category. They are players that shouldn't be at this club, who are on a lot of money, who prevent us, if we can't get rid of Sanchez in the summer, that could stop us getting a Sancho or a Grealish, which stops us stepping forward, which stops us being title holders. It all fits in with each other. Is it more likely we'll get a CAM or a CDM? Also, what's the difference between now and Ollie's first 3 months as Chicharito Hernandez? Well, the difference between now and Ollie's 3 months is a very good question, and I don't know what people in the live comments think who are watching or the people who aren't watching. Please smash a like if you're watching, by the way. We've nearly got 1,000 likes and we've nearly got 10,000 watching, which is fantastic on a Thursday morning. We are going to be live at 8 o'clock tonight with the preview for Bournemouth, and I'm hoping to get a good guest on as well. But the difference for me between Ollie's first 3 months and this period is that Ollie's first 3 months is longer than this period in relation to winning games, and we need this to go all through July to get top 4, and I think it will happen. But there is total difference. I think what happened with Ollie's first 3 months is that he came in with no pressure. He played 4-3-3 and he played the way he plays at Mulder, and his task was just to get United playing good football and get a feel-good factor. The players responded to that for 2 reasons. One, Mourinho had gone and they wanted to prove to the world that Mourinho was the problem and not them, and you often get a player bounce. That's nothing unique to United. That happens a lot. And 2, having played quite negative football for 2 years under Mourinho, they had this manager saying go out there and express yourself, and they did. And for 3 months it worked, but looking back on it, it was naive that we all thought it would happen and continue, because basically it was a holiday. The players just were liberated, Ollie was relaxed, and then he got the job, and it was like, oh my God, this is the long-term thing. What's the long-term plan then? And there were, everyone went, well, we can't keep this happy-go-lucky mindset. We've got to get to work now, and the tactics changed a bit, and the players' mentality changed a bit, and we struggled for a year. What we're seeing now is, between that first 3 months was just a holiday. What we're seeing now is work. This has been in progress for the last year. What we're seeing now is the result of actual tactical nous, actual teamwork, actual synergy between the coaches and the players. That first 3 months was just go out and enjoy yourself. Now we're actually seeing some tactical cohesion. But the main, it goes back to what I said on the video last night. How has Ollie saved his job? How has he turned United around? Bruno Fernandes is the spark for the fire. I mean, Bruno Fernandes isn't the only reason, but Bruno Fernandes has liberated Pogba. He's provided creativity to Martial, Greenwood and Rashford. He's provided stability to the team. Matic has returned to form as well and provided a shield to the back four and a platform for the team above him. So Bruno's the spark, but as I said, there are other players like Matic, like Luke Shaw and Wan-Bissaka with what they're doing. You know, they've basically got the wings on lockdown defensively. What they're doing forward, they can do more, but defensively, very, very good. And then the front three are scoring goals. So, look, the team is very different to that first 3 months. The first 3 months was great, but it was a go out and enjoy yourself. What we're doing now is actually, you know, this is a work in progress. This actually is work. So I'm pleased with it. I think it's working well. Alex Ashby, hi Mark, love the channel. How many more signings do you think we realistically need to challenge for the title? Our front six is lit, but we got no depth. Well, I think you've answered your own question there. We do need depth. Look, we do need depth. I mean, the interesting thing against Bournemouth at the weekend is Bournemouth lost 4-1 last night, so everyone's talking about beating them 6-0. What if Ollie decides to rest a couple of players and he plays Pereira and Lingard? Look, they might score because Bournemouth are crap, but they might actually struggle. This is why you need a strong bench. And as I said, on that bench at the moment, I trust Ighalo and I trust Brandon Williams. I don't trust any of the other players, even the McTominays and Freds. I don't think in a game where you want to dominate in an attacking sense, are they that sort of player? So we need some squad depth. You need your Grealish, you need your Sancho, you definitely do. I literally broke my glass when Yarmolenko scored, says Frank69. I would have been really happy with the draw last night, but, you know, the win was fantastic. How do we replace Matic eventually when we need to, says Mr. Beast. I'll talk about that, actually. And Adam Maddy says, agree, Griezmann isn't the man, but we need a new forward next season other than Sancho. Once Ighalo goes, Rashi, Martial are bound to pick up an injury, says Adam Maddy. And Ewan says, do you remember when Ollie said in February Sanchez will come back and prove us all wrong? I really hope he doesn't come back anywhere near this club. Yeah, well, you just never know. You never know. Look, if Sanchez is part of our plans next season, that's because we've got no money. It's not because there's a future. I mean, how old is Alexis Sanchez now? Let me have a quick look on my phone. But look, interesting talking about the CDM position with Matic last night, because did you watch Declan Rice? And also, did you watch Andre Gomez? Now, I don't think we'd ever go for Andre Gomez, but I had somebody saying he only got a 6. Why do you want him to play? It's not. I just think the way he runs the midfield for Everton is a bit like Carrick and a bit like Matic, and I think he's a decent shout. But 31 is Alexis Sanchez. He's 32 this year. Declan Rice played well last night. I'm still not convinced he's a Manchester United player, but I'm more convinced last night than I was 6 months ago. He's definitely improved. And I know it's only one game, but that's against Chelsea, who are a top 4 club. You know, if you take Declan Rice out of that game for West Ham and put him in a Man United team, you want him to perform against the top 4 clubs, and he's going to have better players around him. So I was impressed with Declan Rice last night, but look, he's going to have to do a lot more to get a United move for me. But certainly, I think I've been a bit dismissive about him over this season, saying he's not good enough, and I've seen Roy Keane doing it as well. But he was better. The thing about Declan Rice, I don't think he's got the build of a centre defensive midfielder. He reminds me of a centre back playing in centre defensive midfield. And someone said last night he did used to be a centre back, and maybe that's it. He's just his body movement. He reminds me of a centre back. But there you go. Strutson says a tradesman is only as good as his tools. A couple of players in now, and we are golden. Well, listen, I was listening to the Flex and Rants show yesterday, actually, and Flex was saying to Rants that, you know, if United get 2 or 3 players in, can Ollie make them title contenders? And Rants was like, well, that's the minimum I would expect if he gets 3 players in. And I'm like, you know what? I think that people need to just, you know, there's nothing more admirable in Sumble than humility and the ability to turn your opinion round based on something. And you can't turn your opinion, you can't praise United but then say, well, Ollie should be doing that with the players he's got. Like, Mourinho had money and is one of the best managers in the world, and he failed at United. Van Gaal had money and is one of the, you know, actually statistically one of the best managers in the world, and he failed. Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's had money and he got relegated with Cardiff. Like, Ole Gunnar Solskjaer is doing something that Mourinho and Van Gaal couldn't do at this club. So how could, you know, Mourinho be praised for finishing second with a boring side, but But Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, if he gets us in the top 4 playing well, or he gets us in a title race next year, well, he should be doing that with the players that he's got. I think there's got to be a level of credit. Look, you could give me £500 million to manage Manchester United next season. I probably would finish mid-table. You know, even though I think I'm a good coach, I ain't a bloody Premier League coach, and I'm not going to finish in the. So it's not just about the players you're given. Look, Pep Guardiola inherited Barcelona with Messi. Now, some people think, well, I could win the title with Messi, and maybe you could. But he then went to Barcelona and Man City and shows that he's a good manager. He's a good manager. Pep Guardiola's a good manager, and that's a fact. And having better players makes your job easier, of course it does. But look, the manager does deserve some credit. I believe Ollie and his coaches have held back philosophy due to a lack of quality, says Balaji. I have seen old players talking about his crazy tactical ambitions. And Rance has said the same thing every time he's been on since he joined. It's boring, says Robert McCormack. Thanks for the super chat. And Ollie has sold bad players and bought good players and changed the system in training, food, resting. Plus, Ollie knows which players he need. I mean, it's going to be very interesting how we develop in relation to fitness as well, because I think that that's something that's caused us problems in the past. And I know for a fact that Manchester United's fitness area is not the best in relation to recruitment. There's people been recruited who are mates with people, etc. But we haven't had as many injuries recently. And touch wood, and lockdown's a long time as well. Look, Phil Jones is injured, but, you know, when it's raining, it's wet. You know, Phil Jones is going to be injured. Twan Sebi seems to be injury prone, but we've not picked up any other injuries yet. And this is a time where people are picking up injuries. So hopefully we're going to turn a corner in the fitness side of things as well, because that's been something that's plagued us for even Sir Alex Ferguson's last couple of years. We were picking up injuries. Neville said McTominay could be a centre-back. I like it, says Robert McCormack. And we need to thank Everton and West Ham for today's positivity, says Ajit. Yes, we've done that already. Can we get Scott for that Carrick role? Says Mr. Beast. I don't know. I don't know about McTominay. I mean, McTominay's going to be a player that's around Manchester United for the next few years. He's not going anywhere. So whatever he develops into can only be a bonus for us. I don't think he's nowhere near Bruno and Pogba. The drop-off's there, of course it is. It's going to be there. They're brilliant players. We need somebody to come in who, when they go off, it's not such a massive drop-off. And I think a Van der Beek or a Grealish would be perfect for that. And just on Grealish, Tim Sherwood, who used to manage Villa and Spurs, he's come out and said that he thinks the Grealish to Man United deal is already done. Now, I wouldn't listen to Tim Sherwood because I don't rate Tim Sherwood that much, but he may have connections in with Villa, which is interesting. But more importantly, Manchester Evening News were reporting this back in February, to be fair, that Man United were very close to putting in a deal together for Grealish, and lockdown may have stopped it. But I must say about Grealish, I think United want Grealish over Van der Beek. In fact, look, I pretty much know that United want Grealish over Van der Beek. The Van der Beek story, as I said at the time, was I think it was a positive PR spin. We know Van der Sar at Ajax. Ajax are trying to get rid of Van der Beek to Real Madrid. Real Madrid have backed off. A little bit of a favour between two clubs helps our positivity, helps them get the deal they need for Van der Beek. I think Van der Beek to Madrid is probably going to happen. Maybe not this summer, maybe next summer, but I don't think United want Van der Beek. I never felt that story was real. I think that we want Grealish, and I can't really see where else Grealish is going to go. Look, Chelsea might come in again, but I don't think I just feel that Grealish and United are the perfect fit, and I do think it will happen. I mean, I wouldn't go any higher than 50-50 at the moment because I'm not that confident about it, but I do think it will happen. And I don't think a deal's been done. I don't think any deal's been done. I've said this so many times about Sancho as well. Why would you go and sit down and negotiate with a club at the moment? We've got a bit of a spike with coronavirus in Leicester at the moment. It's massive in America. It's massive in Brazil. Some countries are absolutely riddled with this virus. It could easily kick off again anywhere. England, wherever, and if it does kick off, football goes on lockdown again. For how long again? And then more money is lost. Wigan have gone into administration yesterday. Why would United be sat there with Dortmund or Aston Villa saying, yeah, we'll give you 50 million for Jack, and then there's another lockdown and you're screwed? So we're not going to negotiate with anybody yet until the transfer window opens. But I do think Sancho and Grealish are at the top of the queue. Do you think we should put more focus on getting top four than Europa League now that we have a better chance as Midnight Man? I think that, thanks for the super chat, mate. I think they're two very different things, though, aren't they? The thing that's harmed Sheffield United and Leicester and has actually helped us is the fact that we, I know Liverpool have ended up winning the league, but we've benefited in a way as well. Not as much as Liverpool, but because Leicester were playing one game a week. One game a week. They're not in Europe. And Sheffield United were playing one game a week. They play Saturday, they play the following Saturday or Sunday, whatever. And they get all week off to rest and prep for their next game. United, Chelsea, they play weekend, then they'll play midweek in the Europa League and the Champions League, then they'll play weekend, then they'll play midweek. We're playing 2 games a week. They're playing 1 game a week. Now, we're playing 2 games a week again. 3 games a week, actually, isn't it? But so are Leicester and so are Sheffield United. They haven't got the squads and they're not used to that. So they're dropping points because of that, but we are used to it and we're picking points up. So it's benefited us, this Europa League being pushed out of the equation to finish the Premier League. It really has benefited us. And also, when we go into the Europa League, it's like a bonus end of season tournament, isn't it? Because we'll know if we've got Champions League football before we even go back in the Europa League. So, look, if we don't get top 4, the Europa League becomes essential to win it and we'll be very focused on it. But if we do get top 4, we've already got it in the bag. We're more relaxed. We're going to the Europa League. We want to win it, and we're in a more positive, confident frame of mind. So I think the Europa League and Premier League are very separate. We get top 4, we can enjoy the Europa League and be confident. We don't get top 4, we've got to win the Europa League. So I think we will. I think they're very separate things because of the way it's been staged, and I certainly think it's helped us. Look, we'll never know. We'll never know what would have happened if coronavirus wasn't here. Imagine if we would have played Spurs that weekend and we would have beat them because they had loads of players out and we were on a roll. But would Leicester have kept winning with less games? Well, they weren't doing themselves. Look, the situation is the situation, and I saw it coming. I saw Leicester flopping, and long may it continue, really, because it benefits us. I've wanted a Grealish since day one. He will be a superstar, says Robert McCormack. And Mark, any worries that Sancho won't make it outside Germany? I feel like he might lack that physical X factor, speed, strength, skill at the top level. That's from Eyes Are Planets. I don't know what you've been watching, mate. I think Jadon Sancho's got absolutely everything to be a superb player. I really do. But I guess we'll see. I mean, somebody just mentioned Jadon Sancho there, and James Maddison there. I mean, the drop-off with Maddison has been ridiculous. I mean, this can happen with any player. You talk about Sancho there. But imagine if we'd bought Maddison for 70 million. I've seen him over the last 3 games, and what I see there is a player that's struggling with the pressure of trying to get Leicester in the top 4, keep him in the top 4. His shooting's off, his game's off. I mean, look, he's still a good player, and when he came on for Leicester in the second half yesterday, he made them a better team. But he had 3 shots, none of them went on target. That, one of those goes in the top corner, and he saved them. And I think Grealish has surpassed Maddison now, not just because of value, but also as a player. I think Grealish is the player that's dealing with the responsibility better than Maddison is in a much worse side. Random one, do you think Aaron Wan-Bissaka could do a job at centre-back, says Matt Carroll? I think Aaron Wan-Bissaka could do a job anywhere because he's just a fantastic footballer. But why do you want to move players who are one of the best in the world in their position? And I don't say that because he's a United player. I think Aaron Wan-Bissaka is one of the best right-backs in the world at this moment in time. Obviously, Trent Alexander-Arnold's in there as well. And there are a couple of other right-backs. I mean, I think Hakimi's doing very well for Dortmund. But Wan-Bissaka's one of the best right-backs in the world. Why do we want to move him from right-back? So, yeah, I think he could do a job at centre-back. But he's one of the best in the world at what he does. So I wouldn't move him at all. Right, please smash a like on the video if you are watching. We've got loads and loads of people watching, which is fantastic. Remember, we're live every morning at 10 a.m. and we're live every night at 8 o'clock, which we will be tonight. And obviously Manchester United's next game is going to be Bournemouth, which we'll have a watch along for you. My FIFA career mode kicks off again this afternoon, a brand new one on Mark Goldbridge That's Football. If you're interested in tuning in for that will be at 2:30. But thanks everybody for watching. I hope you have a good day. Obviously, if there's any breaking news, we go live on this channel. If not, I will see you at 8 o'clock tonight. Have a good day. Thanks everyone for watching, and I'll speak to you all soon.